Well, in our lead story this morning, the mass funeral service of the 21 young people who died in the Enyobeni Tavern tragedy is being held this morning. President Cyril Ramaphosa will speak at the service at the Scenery Park Sports Ground in East London in the Eastern Cape. Now, the empty coffins of the victims will be taken to the venue and burials will then be conducted privately by the respective families. An emotional memorial service for 2 of the 21 teenagers who died was held yesterday. The 12 girls and 9 boys died at a party that was organized at the Enyobeni Tavern on the 26th of last month. The cause of deaths and the outcome of the investigation into the tragedy is yet to be made known. So for more on the story, let's cross to our senior reporter, Griselda Lewis, who's there for us. Griselda, good morning to you. And of course, an early start. It's been a hectic week. And I understand that you are currently at the morgue. So please tell us what's happening at the moment.
Well, that's right, Sakina. We're live at the mortuary where the cortege carrying the 19 empty coffins will leave from here in Mdantsane at the mortuary, as you indicated, to the Scenery Park Sports Ground where the official program will get underway. So a bit of clarity in terms of what will take place here today, Leanne. So those 19 coffins, empty coffins, will leave from here. The procession will then head towards the sports ground at that program where President Cyril Ramaphosa, as you indicated, will also be in attendance. And this is because one of the victims was buried yesterday, and the will be buried. Community still way in shock.
Well, our apologies for the break in transmission there, and we'll try and get back to Griselda Lewis in just a short while. But of course, as promised, we have our team out in full force, and one of the absolute tragedies on top of this tragedy was, of course, the death of a 13-year-old. Abongile Yankes is, of course, at the home of the 13-year-old victim. Let's take you there now. Abongile, good morning. It is still dark, and one can only imagine, how heavy the atmosphere must be. But you're outside the home of the youngest victim. Please tell us more.
Yes, indeed, Sakina, we are outside the home of Thembinkosi Silwane, the youngest who died in that incident. You'd recall that throughout the week we spoke to his mom, who said she wasn't taking it easy at all. On even that day that we interviewed her on, she just came from the local clinic after seeking medical attention, saying that this has taken a toll on her health. But now the family is in preparation of today, and they are wanting to get this over and done with, but notwithstanding that, they want to know the full results of what exactly transpired there. Even yesterday when I spoke to the Minister of Police, Becky Cele, he says that we should give the authorities patience whilst they conduct their investigation into the incident. He even promised today that there will be taken into light of how far is the investigation during the funeral. We're outside of the home, as you pointed out. We're outside their home, and I'm now joined by a family spokesperson. A very good morning to you, ma'am. Thanks for joining us in these early hours of the morning. Kindly tell us your name, ma'am, and surname.
It's Nontobe Konqando.
Ma'am, how has been the family coping during this difficult time?
There is a problem, according to the mother of Thembinkosi Silwane. Is not coping at all, but we are trying.
And today, the funeral, it's a stone's throw away from where Thembinkosi, from Thembinkosi school where he was doing grade 7. And even this community, it's quite somber, ma'am. And coming to today, how prepared is the family in going to this funeral service?
The family is coming from Mdantsane in those locations. So he's going to go to that funeral on that I'm not sure it's a stadium, no, what it's a what, but it's close to the school of Tembinkosi.
And these days, when this has been happening, and you as a family, how have you been coping? I need you to tell us on a daily basis. We've been here supporting you, ma'am. Tell us from your side, and as you say that the family, his mom is not coping at all, but that sense of support as government has been providing psychosocial services, how have they been helping?
I don't want to lie to you. At least they are doing well on those things of the support. For instance, they're giving off those vouchers and the foods and the transport to her. They're giving to her all those things.
And not knowing the autopsy results up until this date, the mother said that that's the one thing that will find her a sense of closure. Not knowing the autopsy results up until this stage, how is she taking it?
She's not okay at all, because she said she wants to know what is happening on that scene. She's not okay actually at all. She's going to the doctor, but she's not okay still.
Okay, with the president coming to the funeral today, what would you like the president to say with regards to activities of youth underage drinking in this community?
If the president can doing the things like the gyms and the sport for the kids, he can doing as the things with the kids must go to gym, to a sport, not going to the shipping or those funny things. We're going to be happy about that.
Thanks a lot for your time.
Thank you.
Well, Sakina, that was the spokesperson of the Silwane family here in Scenery Park. They are saying that they are not taking this lightly, and they're hoping that the president could really intervene. SK?
Well, thanks so much, Abongile, and of course, love and light, not to just only this family, but to all the families. As you heard there from the family spokesperson, the mother of 13-year-old Tembinkosi was the youngest victim, not coping at all. And I think that is quite understandable. Well, let's take you back now from Scenery Park to Mdantsane at the mortuary where Griselda Lewis is. Griselda, unfortunately, we got cut off the first time. So let's just pick it up again in terms of the clarity you were starting to provide about what is to unfold today.
Well, that's right, Sakina. As I indicated, that those 19 empty coffins will leave from here in Mdantsane. The cortege will then head to the official program, which will be taking place at the Scenery Park Sports Ground. And that is expected to start at 8 o'clock this morning. That's when the cortege will leave from here in Mdantsane. We know that the families, according to the funeral parlour that is presiding over this particular ceremony, is that the families have indicated that they did not want their loved ones at the sports ground. So hence you will have those 19 empty coffins which will head to the sports ground. And this is because one of the victims was buried yesterday, and another, the body of one of the other victims has headed to Butterworth. But what will take place, Sakina, is that straight after this official program that will take place this morning at the sports ground, there will be two funerals that will take place, one at Haven Hills and the other in Mount Coke. And this is after the official program has taken place. I understand that 10 other funerals will take place on a Saturday. So what you will have today is this official program, some sort of symbolic funeral. Then there are two funerals that will take place after the official program, and another 10 which will take place on Saturday. But a very somber moment here in Scenery Park, not too far from where I am, here in Mdantsane as well. You can feel the energy of what is taking place in this area. The sense of loss that we've seen over the past week, where families have said this is the greatest tragedy that has befallen this community. In fact, South Africa, since the dawn of democracy, many who we have spoken to have said they are wanting justice. They want people to be held to account for what has taken place. But let me bring in, just to chat a bit more, about the order of proceedings for the day. Abongile Feni, who is AVBOB's area manager, he will talk to us about what's expected to take place. But Abongile, good morning to you. Thanks indeed for your time. So just some clarity. You know, many are asking when the funerals will take place. So clarity is it's 19 empty coffins that will leave these premises here this morning.
Yes, thank you, Griselda, and good morning to the viewers as well. So we as AVBOB are very privileged to be conducting all these 21 funerals, but I have a very dedicated team. I have a very, very dedicated, focused team. But what will happen is that from 8 o'clock, we will be moving from the mortuary and we'll be escorted by the traffic officials. Then we'll be moving straight to the indoor Scenery Park Stadium. And then once we lay those coffins, one coffin per vehicle, then once we lay the coffins there, the families will be there seated. After the families are seated there, what will happen is that the president will come through with our provincial manager, Elaine Gogo, and the executive mayors, municipalities, and other sponsors. And then they'll do a meet and greet and introduce the families. So once all of the speeches and all of the funeral, the mass funeral is conducted, we will take again the coffins, the empty coffins, and then come back here and collect the loved ones back into the coffins, and then transport them to their designated area and have those private funerals as respected by the families. Yes.
So it is 19 empty coffins that will leave here today. And then there are 2 funerals that are taking place today. Some details on that. And I understand that you expect to complete all of this by Sunday. I know there's 10 other funerals on Saturday. Could you give us the details, starting with how many will take place today?
Okay. One will take place in Haven Hills, and the other one will be in Mount Coke. So after the proceedings, straight after the proceedings, the designated drivers will take one from Haven Hills and one from Mount Coke. And then after that, we will have, as arranged with the family members, others will be buried on Saturday, others will be buried on Sunday, others will be buried on Friday, as arranged with the families. Yes.
Abongile Feni, thank you very much indeed for all of that clarity. We really do appreciate your time. As you heard there, Sakina, as well as Leanne, 19 of those empty coffins will leave here at 8 o'clock this morning. And officially, there are 2 funerals that will take place today, one at Mount Coke and the other in Haven Hills. The others on Friday, 10 also on Saturday, and others on Sunday as well. So more of a symbolic day today, where President Cyril Ramaphosa, according to the program, will deliver the eulogy, and certainly from many of the people that will be gathered at the sports ground, from where we will head to from here, it's going to be a very, very somber moment for young people who had promising lives, and a community who has spoken to us about so much hope that they had, that has all now left their community.
Well, thank you, Griselda. And of course, we'll be checking in with you again shortly. And that, of course, Griselda Lewis, who is in Mdansane at the mortuary, from where the 19 empty coffins will move, as Griselda says, symbolic for the most part today. But there will be 2 burials today, more on Friday and Saturday, Sunday as well. And 2 of the victims have already been buried. So we will continue tracking the story for you with our reporters on the ground.